From Samuel L. Jackson destroying an interviewer to Mila Kunis unleashing her inner protector for Justin Timberlake, here are some of the most heated celebrity interview moments. And this is a video that I can't start without the iconic time when Samuel L. Jackson was mistaken for Lawrence Fishburne. Sam Rubin made a pretty big blunder during the interview. He asked Samuel L. Jackson about a Super Bowl commercial, thinking he was actually talking to Lawrence Fishburne. Ouch. Well, safe to say, things quickly went downhill from there, because Jackson didn't hold back. He went off on Sam Rubin for the next 4 minutes, didn't even pause to give him a chance to recover. It was the "not all African American people are the same" conversation. And boy, was it painful to watch. Rubin desperately tried to redirect the conversation back to the movie RoboCop, which was what Jackson was there to promote. But he wasn't having any of it. He was on a roll and wasn't going to let Rubin off the hook that easily. The internet, of course, ate it up. People love a good celebrity showdown, and this was one for the books. After the whole debacle finally came to an end, Rubin knew he'd made a massive mistake. He even admitted that the interview tape would probably haunt him forever. And you know what? He was right. Once something like that hits the internet, it's there to stay. Poor Sam Rubin, forever known as the guy who mistook Samuel L. Jackson for Lawrence Fishburne. But get this, he's not the only one who's mixed up these two talented actors. Lawrence Fishburne himself revealed in an interview that he gets mistaken for Samuel L. Jackson all the time. I mean, he's even signed Jackson's autograph when fans have asked for it. Fishburne seems to have a good sense of humor about the whole situation. He quipped that it's not such a bad problem to have. But if you thought this interview was cringy as hell, you haven't seen anything yet. Because Jesse Eisenberg's was even worse. He had an interesting interview with Romina Puga on her show Say My Name. They were there to talk about the movie Now You See Me, where Eisenberg seemed to have channeled his inner Zuckerberg during the interview. He went into a full-on rapid-fire mode, throwing insults and sarcastic jabs left and right. The guy was starting to go way too far with his jokes, even encouraging Puga to cry, saying she was like the carrot top of interviewers. At first, their banter seemed playful, but things quickly took a turn for the worse. In under 3 minutes, Eisenberg started to come off as a bit of a bully. Puga even edited the segment to end with her calling him a jerk. People couldn't help but wonder if it was a failed attempt at a joke or just a total train wreck of an interview. Well, Puga cleared that up with a Tumblr post, confirming that Eisenberg was in fact not very nice. Yikes. And you know the worst part? When the whole thing finally came to an end, Romina went behind the curtain to wait for the memory cards from the interview. And what does Eisenberg do? He asks her, "You're still here?" Seriously, not a good look. So it seems like Eisenberg's behavior wasn't just an act for the interview. But it's not always the celebrities who are the issues in these interviews. Just ask Cara Delevingne. Just about everything went wrong during this interview. I mean, right off the bat, they got her name wrong. Instead of Cara, they introduced her as Carla. Not the best way to kick things off, right? And then the host proceeded to ask some rather backhanded questions. They wondered if she'd even read the book that inspired the movie she was there to promote. And if that wasn't enough, they also pointed out that she seemed less excited during this interview compared to a previous one. Not exactly a confidence booster, huh? But wait, there's more. To add to the discomfort, there was a frustrating satellite delay that made everyone involved blink awkwardly into the camera for what felt like an eternity after each response. And to make matters even worse, the attempted jokes fell completely flat. It was a recipe for disaster. Eventually sensing what they believed to be an attitude from Delevingne, the interviewers decided to call it quits. One of them even suggested she take a nap or grab a Red Bull. Delevingne just sat there looking silently angry while the uncomfortable silence stretched on until the satellite feed mercifully cut off. The interviewers couldn't help but express their surprise at how fast things had gone downhill. They blamed Delevingne, claiming she was the problem. Yikes. But Delevingne had her own say in the matter. She took to Twitter to defend herself, saying that some people simply don't grasp sarcasm or the British sense of humor. Plus, maybe she just didn't want to answer. So it was low-key best that they stopped pushing and just let her go. On the other hand, no one's giving a penny for Kanye's free thoughts. I mean, unless you've been living in a cave, you've probably heard about the infamous Kanye West interview on TMZ Live in May of 2018. He went on the show to delve into his new experiment with free thought, something he'd been exploring on his Twitter account. Now, the interview itself was a wild ride, a stream of consciousness extravaganza that left viewers confused. If you've got 30 minutes to spare and want to get a really bad headache, you can watch it for yourself. Kanye touched on everything from mental imprisonment to his own liposuction procedure and the resulting opioid addiction. But of course, the standout moment was his comment about slavery. Now, let's be clear here. Kanye's exact words were, "When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you were there for 400 years and it's all of y'all?" Yeah, you can imagine the outrage that followed. It was objectively outrageous, to say the least. One of the TMZ staffers, Van Lathan, called Kanye out on the spot, and rightfully so. After the interview, Kanye took to Twitter in an attempt to clarify his statement. In a series of since-deleted tweets, he explained that he was referring to mental enslavement. He wanted to emphasize that people can become trapped in their own minds. But one tweet from that rant is still up, where Kanye wrote, "The universe has a plan. I knew that TMZ would be awesome." Well, it certainly was something, but maybe not in the way Kanye intended. Speaking of things going the wrong way, remember when Robert Downey Jr. proved that he doesn't swing at curveballs? Guru Murthy has gained a reputation for pushing buttons, and he's certainly succeeded in getting under the skin of the famous actor. The interview took a sharp turn when Guru Murthy repeatedly delved into Downey Jr.'s past struggles, poking at his so-called dark times. It became too much for the star, who abruptly ended the interview and bid his farewell, not without dropping a schmuck reference towards Guru Murthy. Later, during an appearance on Howard Stern's show, Downey Jr. didn't hold back his true feelings about the uncomfortable encounter. He labeled Guru Murthy as a syphilitic parasite and a clown. Ouch, those are some strong words. Now, to be fair, it's no secret that Robert Downey Jr. has had his fair share of troubles, including struggles with drugs and brushes with the law. So it's not like these revelations were breaking news. And to make matters worse, this tense interview happened during a press event for Avengers Age of Ultron, where the stars were given brief 5 to 10-minute slots with news outlets specifically to promote the film. Just like Downey, this next celebrity also shut down any uncomfortable questions. Yep, I'm talking about Mila Kunis. During a panel interview that took place to promote the 2011 rom-com Friends with Benefits starring Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake, things got interesting to say the least. A Russian reporter had some thoughts about Timberlake's transition from showbiz to movies. But Kunis, who happened to be Ukrainian-born and fluent in Russian, wasn't about to let that slide. She stepped in to defend her co-star, addressing the perceived slight head-on. In a commanding tone, she replied, "Well, what would you rather have him do?" But the exchange didn't end there. The reporter persisted with her unusual line of questioning, suggesting that showbiz should be enough for Timberlake. Kunis wasn't having any of that either. She swiftly shot back and asked why they were even at the panel interview in the first place. And poor Timberlake found himself caught in the middle of a literal battle she was fighting. He tried to keep up with the delayed translation coming through his earpiece, looking confused as hell. Eventually, he just surrendered to the situation, allowing Kunis and the reporter to engage in their verbal duel in their native Slavic tongue. Because, let's be honest, Mila had it handled. So, from Mila Kunis putting an interviewer in their place, to Samuel L. Jackson going on a rant against a racist, that's all I've got today for the most heated celebrity interview moments.